A great evening to you and a warm welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojobaka. The International Monetary Fund has signaled its preparedness to disburse the second tranche of $600 million to Ghana as soon as it receives a draft term sheet from official creditors. This is coming at a time Finance Minister Kendo Foriata has disclosed that Ghana had received a draft term sheet on debt relief from its official creditors that is sufficient for the International Monetary Fund to disburse $600 million to the West African nation. Julie Kozak is the Director of Communications at the International Monetary Fund and has been speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C., USA.
On Ghana, on October 6th of 2023, so just a few months ago, our team reached a staff-level agreement with the Ghanaian authorities to ensure for the first review of the program. And once our executive board completes the review, this would give Ghana access to $600 million in financing. To ensure timely completion of the reviews, official creditors and the Ghanaian authorities will need to reach agreement on a debt treatment consistent with the objectives of the program and in line with the financing assurances that creditors had provided in May of 2023. Discussions between Ghana and the official creditor committee are ongoing. Good progress is being made, and we're confident that an agreement can be reached soon so that we can rapidly bring the program to our board.
Meanwhile, Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School, Seram Kawo, says the timeliness of the $600 million second tranche will have great impact on exchange rate, the budget, as well as taming inflation in the country.
The IMF board is going to meet, I think, next week. And so if they are meeting next week, I really do not know what they expect. Just the draft that they want, or they want a firm assurance from the bilateral partners and then the Paris Committee. If they want a draft and they want an assurance from them, then this can prove in the form of an assurance that we can take to them so that they will be able to roll out the bailout, the rest of the tranches of the bailout that we have, so that the World Bank will also come in to give us whatever they have promised us. And these are all going to take some time to do. And so we are already ending March. Already ending of January. So February, by latest March, we should have these monies hitting the account of Bank of Ghana. So we're going to have a lot of good things coming out in terms of our exchange rate. We're going to shore up our budget support. So our foreign reserves will have to increase. And in a way, we're going to tame the kind of inflation that is imported into the country, and government will be able to shore up their domestic projects that they want to undertake. By lack of money, this money will come in to help all of us, so that the escalation in terms of the prices, in terms of the exchange rate and all those things are going to reduce. So I'm looking at March. March, that is the end of the quarter. So we may be able to get this particular amount earlier. It will be very wrong on my part to say that we would get the money by February. That will not be so good. I need to be prudent in my expectations. And so by March, we should have, if the board did not meet by next week, they should have a meeting in February, and all the kinds of negotiations that we are looking at should have been done so that we would be able to meet the requirements of IMF and World Bank in order for the next tranche of money to come in.
More on the economy, economist Dr. Patrick Esuming is calling on government to adopt a long-term approach to growing the economy. His comment follows a prediction by the World Bank that Ghana's economy will grow by 2.8% by the end of 2024. Speaking earlier on the marketplace, Dr. Esuming said government should not only focus on marginal gains, but grow the real sector as well.
The government needs to, take a step back and take a longer-term approach to growing the economy. I think we really shouldn't be focusing on marginal gains from some policy measures. We have to have a longer-term strategy for transforming the economy. I think it's good that Agric is doing well, but there's a lot more that could be done. And then also strengthening the linkages of the real sector, especially with the mining sector, the small-scale mining, and then the oil sector. I think there's a lot of room, there are a lot of things government can do to leverage growth in the agri sector, but also the recent boom in the mining. I think at the moment, the mineral economy still sits as an enclave. We are not doing enough processing of some of the minerals. We are not doing enough value addition within the country. So if we do all of that, we begin to see some more robust growth. When the first quarter growth was released, and it looked way higher than projected, it really masked some fundamental problems in the economy. Because when you look at the segregation by the four primary economic agents, household consumption, business investment, government expenditures, and net export, you saw that the business investment was negative. So you begin to see that going forward, this was going to hurt the economy. So it was no surprise that when the third quarter number came out, you begin to see that the growth was slowing down. So the second quarter is slowed down marginally from the first quarter, and then we saw a much more substantial slowdown. So I think that it is worrying but not surprising. I think if you look at the measures that the government have undertaken in the IMF program, you begin to see why manufacturing and construction have been severely hit, and those are the sectors that have seen. Those have been the weakest sectors in the year so far.
Some other stories: the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SSNIT, in consultation with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, has increased monthly pensions upwards by 15% for the year 2024. This is in line with Section 80 of the National Pensions Act 2008, Act 766. James Eshin reports.
The Social Security and National Insurance Trust said approximately 70% of all pensioners across the country are expected to receive some 15% as an effective indexation rate. This is expected to cost the trust some 697 million Ghana cedis.
The long-term sustainability of the scheme. You don't want to eat all your eggs so that you don't have chickens, going forward. So we need to make sure that the scheme is protected. It's in existence to be able to continue to pay pension or benefits when they fall due. So that's very, very crucial. Now, having considered all these four factors, ladies and gentlemen, it's my singular honor to announce to you that we came to a rate of 15% for 2024. That's going to apply to all pensions in payment.
Now, the total indexation rate for lowest earning pensioners will be 36.37%.
We project the wage inflation, and this year the wage inflation has been projected to be 20%. That is one factor that we take into account in arriving at the indexation rate for a particular year. The number two factor is to also find the CPI, what we call the inflation. So the projection for this year, 2024, was set at 23.16, and I must add quickly that the statistician yesterday, the government statistician yesterday, announced inflation for ending year December 2023 to be 23.2.
Now, the trust said the average monthly pension payout for 2024 is projected to increase from 400 million Ghana cedis to 469 million Ghana cedis.
Because, any additional money that you pay out, it's first liquidity that you have to raise, and two, investments that you may have to liquidate. So anything that we do has implications. The higher you go, the more stress you put on the fund.
On some investments made by the trust, Director General John Ofori-Tinkrant said his outfit is working assiduously to optimize some gains.
What we do then is to make sure that we are balancing all these things and making sure that what we are doing is the most prudent thing to do as far as long-term sustainability of the scheme is concerned. And also not to be completely oblivious to what people need to spend money on. And so that is why we do also the redistribution.
General Secretary of the National Pensioners Association, Stephen Boachi, also welcomed the indexation rate for 2024.
We think it's good for us. It's good for us. Because, you know, it's not whatever you get all the time that you get. People may think that last year we had 25, so maybe 30 or so. No, but it's not like that. Ours is any time at all when you go to your bank, you get the money.
The trust said it is committed to paying legitimate benefits accurately. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
Reacting to this development, Executive Director of the African Center for Retirement Research, Abdallah Mashoud, said the 15% increment is inadequate. He explains why.
If they could have done better, I believe the fixed rate of 10% is highly inadequate and is going to subject pensioners to a lot of hardship in 2023. They won't be able to compete very well in the pricing market. I mean, it's going to subject pensioners to a lot of, hardship in the year 2023. And it has a lot of implications. One, you are this way, if you don't adequately index pensions, what you are basically doing is that you are opening the economic gap between the retired population and the working population, and that presents a development challenge. But when you don't analyze the full picture, I hear Director General of the Social Security Administration hammering so much on sustainability. We haven't really gotten to the point where we need to begin to cut down benefits because of sustainability. The actual valuation reports in the past have recommended that we need to show up sustainability of the scheme, long-term financial sustainability, and they have recommended that there is a need for us to increase the contribution rate. There is a need for us to increase the contribution, and that's where the emphasis is. And let's talk about the minimum pension. Minimum pension has increased each year since the year 2000 until in 2017. Now, the minimum pension has stuck at 300 Ghana cedis for 6 successive years. Generally, the provision for minimum pension by a national pension system, its level and the frequency of increment is actually used to assess the efficiency of a national pension system. So the fact that minimum pension has remained at 300 Ghana cedis for 6 successive years tells us that there's something wrong somewhere.
Some other stories. The Ghana Revenue Authority has indicated that it will roll out the date for implementing the 5 new tax amendment bills from next week. This was after President Akufo-Addo signed these taxes into law on 29th December 2023. This has raised concerns about the date that businesses should start charging these fees. Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Mishadai Uswamwa, has been giving more details on this when Joy Business caught up with him in town.
I think we are working on it, and very soon we'll come out with the exact date. So you give us, by next week we'll be able to come out with the exact date that will put them into effect.
So next week, because some have seen that because the president has given his assent, it means that legally it should take effect. Can you help us with some education there?
No, normally we have to look at the various taxes that are involved. In some of them, if the effective date could still start from the time of assent, because it depends upon the nature or the way of the collection. But in some of them, it will become difficult for you to start from that date of the assent. So it all depends on the individual taxes. But by next week, we'll be able to come out and let the public know exactly.
And that regulation will tell us on when the takeoff and all the various tax type and everything?
Yes, we will do that. So that is how we are going to manage it.
There were rumors that you ran away. Are you back? Or indeed you ran away?
I cannot run away. I have no cause to run away. So there's nobody to be able to talk about that I ran away. I'm here and doing business, and we are pushing for the taxes. Whatever we need to respond to anything, we will respond to anything, and I have no reason at all to run away.
So the reason that you ran away to come, you come back?
At all.
Did you travel outside the country? Did you travel outside?
There's no need for me to run away to anywhere.
You visited here. I mean, why the visit, and what is this center doing actually?
No, I was just passing through and then just saying this is one of our offices.
So the surety is that you are at post?
Yes, I'm at post, so don't need to worry about our post.
Now, the Ghana Statistical Service has commenced the 5th Integrated Business Establishment Survey aimed at gathering data on businesses in both the formal and informal sectors of the economy. At the opening ceremony, the National Project Coordinator for the survey, Anthony Kakra, said the data collected will be used in producing the business register for the country in order to provide insight into the growth of businesses.
2024 Integrated Business Establishment Survey will provide updated statistics on the current structure of Ghana's economy to facilitate the revision of key macroeconomic indicators, including gross domestic product and producer price index. The survey is also expected to help develop policies aimed at formalizing the economy. In an interview, National Project Coordinator for the survey, Anthony Kakra, said the survey will provide information on the growth of businesses in the country.
Unlike the previous 4 economic census that we did in this country, starting from 1962, this time around we are trying to expand it. We are expanding the scope in a way that all informal businesses will be covered. All informal businesses in terms of those who sell in the market, on the streets, those who sell in the hawkers, those who sell in the streets, on tabletops, the fish sellers on the street, the tomato sellers, the fish sellers. If you go to Mokala, we see people putting tables, the fish and tomatoes on small tables in the market and selling. And all those people will cover it, and including the big shops, the stores, the big shops, all traders who trade on market days in our districts, in our markets, all will be covered. So the scope covers every business, unlike previously the way we only focusing on industries and big shops and all that. The difference in these 2024 IBES or economic census is that it covers every business, both the informal and informal sector. And the data we are going to get will be used to produce the business register for this country. We have previous business registers, but this is quite different in terms of the coverage for the informal sector. And so it's going to give us data to produce the business register for this country that will be used to analyze, produce the statistics on the growth of businesses in the country.
Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobene-Nim said the survey would be conducted using the needed technologies to help reach business in all sectors of the economy.
It is not just an integrated business establishment survey, but our long-term goal to ensure that as a country we have a complete set of registers that enables us to have real-time information of what is happening in our economy. So going forward, we are not just seeking to update or have an online business register of the businesses that we have in the country, but a register that would enable us to link businesses to our population register and also link that to our address system. That is the only way we can say that our economy is fully formalized. So the first thing that we are doing differently for the 2024 business establishment survey is to ensure that data collection is done with technology intensified. We all realize that since 2017, as a service, we started collecting data with the computer-assisted programming approach. The 2021 population housing census collected GPS coordinates on all the structures. The 2024 integrated business establishment survey is not going to do anything different. We're going to collect data using tablets. We're going to collect data on all GPS coordinates of all the business establishments that we have in the country. And that is the only way we can link structures based on the human beings that live in there and the economic activities that go on in there.
Over 16,000 people are being trained to help gather data for the survey.
You're still watching Prime Business. Senior Manager Financial Advisory at Deloitte Ghana, Dennis Brown, has advised businesses to factor in other macroeconomic indicators before drafting a budget. According to him, this is to ensure sustainability. He spoke earlier on the marketplace on the Joy News channel.
One of the mistakes individuals make when they are drawing up a budget is not to take stock of their financial situation and personal economy. And all they do is just look forward and say, well, I want to achieve this financial goal this year, and so I'm setting out a budget to take me there. Normally, such things becomes just wishful thinking. What you want to do is to assess and take stock of your financial situation. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What are your mandatory expenses, if you have any of them? What are your income sources and the amount of income that you're able to generate from those? Once you understand your financial situation, which you can also say is your personal economy, you're in a very good position to target properly what you want to achieve with the budget. So that's the first thing you'd want to do. The other thing, or the next thing, would be to look at the general macroeconomy. you operate within an economy. It's not everything that you can control. There are things that you spend money on that you simply cannot control. Prices will go up and you can't do anything about it. So it's important that you look at the macroeconomy and see what's going on, understand and appreciate what is happening in the macroeconomy and factor that into your budget so that when you are projecting for particular expense items, what you're likely to spend on, you'll be able to do so properly. You may want to also move further deeper from the macroeconomy if there's information available to relate what is happening to the market to you. For instance, there's headline inflation maybe expected to be about 15% in the coming year, but you may be in a situation where you spend about 70% of your income on food. Food inflation is not exactly 15%. So if you are going to persist in that situation, you would want to move further down from the headline inflation to look at Ghana Statistical Service, data on what food inflation is so that you can properly, target. At the end of the day, you want to end up with a budget that is achievable, that is realistic.
Before we go, cybersecurity service providers, cybersecurity establishment, and cybersecurity professionals without license or accreditation have been barred from operating in Ghana. This is the latest directive from the Cybersecurity Authority effective January 1, 2024. More in this report.
The directive follows a deadline issued by the Cybersecurity Authority to service providers to obtain licenses or accreditation to operate fully in the country. The authority says it will fully enforce the provisions of the Cybersecurity Act 2022, Act 1038, regarding its mandate to regulate entities operating in the cyberspace. Accordingly, persons who offer cybersecurity services without license or accreditation granted by the authority do so in contravention of the Act and will face the full rigors of the law, including criminal prosecutions and administrative penalties where applicable. Institutions and individuals are consequently advised to engage only licensed firms and persons in the country.
That's all for Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Thanks so much for your company. Prime Sports is next.